From the Hartford Stage to hit television show Riverdale and Netflix favorite Locke Key, actor Christopher Britton has brought to life countless characters, and today he is here to give us an inside look into being an A-list actor. What got you into being an actor? How did you fall in love with the craft?
Well, I became interested in it as a teenager, really. I started to study acting at a theater school at night in Toronto, and I didn't, I had no idea if it would become, my profession for the rest of my life. I just pursued what I was interested in and what sort of inspired me, and then I became a member of a modern dance company for about a year and a half, and then I went to university and in the theater program, and then from there I just worked as a professional actor, and it's over 40 years now. So as one does, or actors do, or painters or writers, you pursue your passion, what you love to do. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to make somewhat of a living at it, you're very lucky. And I'm very grateful.
And a little fun fact, you were in the Misanthropy, directed by Mark Lamos, at the Hartford Stage. And my grandma actually worked at the Hartford Stage during that time. And for years and years, she was in the Milton Berle show. And I love the Hartford Stage. That's amazing to hear. And that was just so fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoyed my time there. It was a wonderful cast. And I'm still in touch with three of the actors who were in that production, 1983, and I was living in New York, and yeah, that was great. It's to that Moliere play.
What are some big moments that have stuck with you throughout your career? Any moments meeting people or crazy on-set stories? What are some of those moments that really stuck with you?
Well, of course, there's always been a fair amount online since the death of Robin Williams, and I was in a film with him that was shot in Vancouver here, called The Final Cut, and I had two scenes with Robin Williams, and he was, sort of a remarkable guy. He was, very quiet, very low key. We bonded over bike racing, and he was a a bike racing enthusiast, and so am I. And I remember there was one scene that was being shot. At least the setting was a funeral parlor type of setting, and there were a number of extras. And after lunch, he stood at the entrance to the building on the sidewalk, and the line of extras, were, making their way into that building, and he stood at the entrance. And with each person, he did just a little number, just a little bit, just a greeting, a funny little voice, something like that. He made them all feel just a little bit more special. And it was like, I stood there watching him do this, and I'll never forget that. I thought that was really a remarkable thing. And it was, certainly at least 10 minutes, and he was sort of, introducing himself to them, saying hello and entertaining them at the same time. It was really terrific, and that was one experience. And the other one, of course, was working with Forrest Whitaker. That was wonderful. Very gentle, giving man.
It seems that Robin Williams really lived to entertain. He loved to make people laugh, and that story right there is an example. He truly loved what he did.
Yeah.
I feel like he genuinely took joy in performing for others.
Yeah, Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's true.
You were most recently on the CW show Riverdale as Judge Britton, and Riverdale is such a popular show. They have a huge fan base. What was that experience like for you?
You know, I was supposed to do, I think, a fourth or fifth episode, or fifth or sixth episode, I can't remember, just before it shut down a year ago for COVID.
Oh.
Yeah. But and then, you know, they've changed the whole time frame, I think, for the renewal. But no, you know, it was fine. You know, it's always fun to play a role like that because, first of all, you're sitting,
Mm-hmm.
so you're not standing for a very long time. And if you had a lot of lines, you could just have them right there. You never have to worry.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was it was nice to be a part of that show. And I remember one of the directors, Allison Anders, was terrific. We hit it off quite well. She was just great. Um, yeah, and the cast, young, talented. It was great to see these actors, sort of having this sort of immediate success, because outside the set, one or two of the episodes was shot downtown in Vancouver at the courthouse, actually in the courthouse. And once the word got out that they were shooting there, of course, when you came out, they were all waiting for, the young stars of the show. And you saw how quickly that show became so popular.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. It's a shame that, I couldn't have continued further with that part, but, I enjoyed the episodes that I did.
Yeah, I think the most important question was, were you Team Archie or Team Jughead?
Oh, well, as a judge, you can't really
You
be,
can't pick sides.
you have to be, yes. And of course, the other amusing thing is that's the first time I've ever had a character named my name. So, Judge Britton, was,
Right, right.
yeah,
Spot on. That's so
that was a bit of a mystery to me, but I had no problem with it.
the role was written for you. It says
That's
it right
right.
there.
That's right. Yeah.
You did say you are going back to Canada to continue shooting season 2 of Locke Key. What can you tell us about that? You play the ghost on there. Any exciting spoilers you can give us, or
I can't.
yeah,
I
didn't
can't do
think
that.
so.
No. But it.
What's that like?
I,
And that's another show that hit, I feel fandom really quickly. I see all over the
yes.
internet, people love that show. So that's
It was
another one.
it was the number one show on Netflix. Yeah. It. In the first season, I just did the one episode. I think episode 4. And I was in the graveyard, of course, because I'm a ghost, and
Yeah.
so that continues. So I think it'll be 3 episodes I'm in this season, but that's about all I will risk saying.
I thought so.
Yeah,
Doesn't hurt
because
to ask.
you sign those NDAs and non-disclosure agreements, and yeah.
What was the experience of doing the voiceover work as Mr. Sinister in the X-Men animated series? That is such a huge franchise. Now, the Marvel Universe, X-Men, that has a huge fan base. What was that experience like?
Well, that was all done in Toronto, and they hired and we've had a number of reunions with GalaxyCon and Wizard World, and in 2019 we did a number of Comic Cons. We did like 6. We went to Albuquerque and Los Angeles and New Orleans. And there's about 5 of us who are on that circuit. Wolverine, Cal Dodd, Lenore Zan, who plays Rogue, George Buza, who plays Beast. There are, about 4 or 5 of us. Chris Potter, who plays Gambit. and thanks to Disney Plus, who is airing all the episodes again, it sort of has a new fan base. And there are people who sort of were very young watching it in from 91 to 95 who now have their own children, and they're introducing their kids to it, and they bring them to the Comic Cons, which is really kind of fun.
That's nice.
And what I've been learning from discussions with everything, because, you know, I forgot a lot about this, was they wanted actors, they ended up using actors who had a more theatrical background, because the text was such that it had to really lift off the page and required a lot of energy behind it, especially for you know, Wolverine and Mr. Sinister and, you know, those roles. It required a lot of energy, and to bring that text, which is heightened anyway, to bring it into sort of a slightly theatrical realm. And I think that was part of the big success of that show. And it was an animated series, as I'm slowly, as I slowly found out, that was the subject matters were not usual for an animated series. There were social issues, there were human rights issues that were within the guise of the X-Men, right? And the mutants and all that within the storyline. So, you know, it's a very interesting series, and I've rewatched a few of the episodes on Disney Plus, and I'm glad that it sort of has found a new life, you know, a new fan base.
Yeah. And that's great too, because like you mentioned, sometimes animated series are just kind of light and fun and something you can listen to or watch. But your series actually had some real topics, some heavy topics that even resonate today. So,
Yeah,
like you said, people
right.
can rewatch and it's still the same hard hitting things that would affect everyone nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's the reason why people are enjoying watching it either for the first time now or rewatching them, having not seen them since the 90s.
Mhm.
And those topics, you know, it was just unusual at that
Yeah.
time. You know, so it's good to be a part of that series. I'm glad that I had that opportunity.
Yeah. Ahead of its time.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Do you see the industry opening up a little bit more now? I know you are going to shoot Lock and Key, but do you think slowly but surely, do you see your industry getting back into it, making movies, making shows?
You know, it's surprisingly busy.
Mhm.
Um, and each set from, you know, because I shot 2 episodes of Lock and Key in Toronto in October, November, and I was tested before I flew out. I was tested the day I arrived, and every second day after that, all the crew, all the drivers, everyone, makeup, costume, you know, they're all tested all the time,
Mhm.
all wearing masks. And the only time I took off a mask was when I was interacting with my acting partner. And so they're very careful, because to shut down a set is very expensive.
Mhm.
So it's worth it to spend that money making sure everything is adhered to.
Right.
But yeah, you know, every actor I know is doing auditions, and of course that has changed. We're doing, you know, Zoom auditions. We're doing self-tape auditions. You know, we're not driving to casting offices right now. How much of that remains, I don't know. But the industry seems to be quite busy, at least in Vancouver and Toronto.
What upcoming projects can you tell the viewers about it? What's next for you?
Well, I'm doing another episode of Locke Key in April. I did one of the alien voices in Gabby Duran and the Unsittables.
Okay.
That's what it's called, Gabby Duran and the Unsittables. Another Disney, well, it's live action, but I do the voice over for one of the young characters who has an alien alter ego.
Ooh.
I do that. Jim Buck, his name is. And I did one last year of Jim Buck, and then one I just did for the next season. But that's that's all right now, and always auditioning, and the usual.
Yes. Well, I look forward to seeing you in Lock and Key and other upcoming films. So it was so great speaking with you today, Chris.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm so glad I've met you.
Me too.
Thank
Oh.
you. Thank you.